Hello and welcome to Titan Talks. My name's Tiernan, this is Roy. We're coming back with another episode here. However, we did have two episodes before, but this is kind of us starting again, kind of reshooting the whole thing. Because last time we were in someone else's facility, now we've got our own facility and we're doing our own thing. And we kind of want to take a new spin on the Titan Talks. Today, we're going to talk about, we had planned to start a brand new podcast called Broke Millionaires. And yeah, it was a good idea, wasn't it? But it just didn't work out because someone else has already taken it. Someone else is already using that name and title. But basically, what we wanted to talk about why we wanted to start a podcast called Broke Millionaires. We thought it was kind of funny, and I thought it was pretty funny way to explain how you as an aspiring, I don't know, successful person, aspiring millionaire. I mean, whenever I was 16, I told my mum that I wanted to be a millionaire. She kind of laughed at me. Says I would be there by the time I'm 30, which means I've got 3 years left. Scary that. So, basically, we wanted to kind of capture the funny side of being
entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Cheers, Roy. Yeah, so we wanted to capture that, but obviously that name was gone, so we're going to stick with our old name, which was Titan Talks. I still really like that name. I think it's a cool name. Kind of like the like TED Talks, but like Titans instead of TEDs. But yeah. But the idea behind Broke Millionaires, we kind of want to bring that across in this episode today. And the idea behind it was, as I was saying, basically when you're aspiring to be there, you're not quite there yet. There's lots of things that you kind of have to get in place before that comes, I guess. We don't know this. I mean, obviously we don't know because we've not been there yet.
We're still learning.
We're still learning as we go along.
There's some massive learning curves. I think that's what being a broke millionaire is all about as well. It's not a phase where you know where you're heading to, but then your ego sort of gets in the way. And you think, oh yeah, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy, and then the reality is, oh no, this has happened. We're still fucking broke.
Yeah.
And it's just lots of different learning curves along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hope with our first, when we first went to go with the Broke Millionaire title, I think what we were both kind of hoping that that it would take us through our journey from where we are right now to actually being millionaires. Big hope, yeah.
That was a big hope.
It was a big hope, but look, this is kind of why we do it. And I mean, I still believe right now that I'm going to hit that by 30. I will get there. I've got everything in place to do it. Maybe, and you know what? Even if I fall short, at least I've dreamed big and I went for it. But I still feel like it's going to happen. Got this feeling. That's it. So I'm chasing that, and I was just wanting to bring everyone else along for the ride, really, but also just talk about the ideas and mindset and things like that are going to help other people maybe achieve the same thing. Maybe people don't want to talk about it. I don't care. I'm not worried about embarrassing myself. I don't really get embarrassed. I don't really give a shit. So people make fun, cool, do whatever you want to do, but hopefully people out there will connect with us and will think, fucking hell, these guys are doing it too. I'm on that same journey, and I wanna,
doing it to be struggling. So.
Yeah, struggling. Yeah,
struggling.
These guys are struggling as well. So we're hoping to connect with people like-minded, and kind of, I don't know, just give them something to watch and have a laugh at, and maybe just let them know that they're not alone on the journey. And that's pretty much all it is, isn't it? Really, that's why we wanted to do this. Yeah. So I don't know. Going into the Broke Millionaire thing, with a little bit more depth. I think you have to have so much, don't you? You kind of have to have so much in place. Well, from what I read anyway, as I say, we don't know this shit, but we're only reading what other guys have said. And for me, 3 years ago, 3 years ago, even you, what, 2 years ago now?
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago. So how long? When did we start training? So anyway,
17. Start 2017.
Yeah.
Training together.
So Roy started training with me, started 2017. But actually, our story kind of goes back a bit further than that, because we first met at a gym, Lifestyle Fitness, and we were both PTs there. And Yeah, it didn't work out as planned at all. We did all right. We did all right, but I moved on pretty quickly. Roy didn't work out at all.
Broke PT podcast.
Yeah, broke PT Tap podcast. That actually would have been that could have been funny. That could have worked. But yeah, basically, he for his business it didn't exactly work out. PT wasn't his thing. For me, yeah, it still was. I still do it. I'm still an SSC coach. I still follow that path. I've got my own gym now. Things are good. But and actually, Roy owns the gym as well, so I don't really want to. We're both we're partners in this business, and to come from kind of where we were at with the lifestyle fitness thing, and just not having a clue really, and just not you were just totally unaware of I was didn't understand money, I guess, didn't understand that you didn't understand business either, didn't understand the systems related to business, didn't understand position. I mean, whenever I was first self-employed, I thought, yeah, I'm a business owner now. I own a business. No,
And
no,
then
when
it's like, well, hang on, where's this money coming from?
yeah,
And it's just a big reality check. It's like, I've got to do some fucking work.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then when the work you're doing doesn't work, you still don't get paid. But yet your expenses are growing and growing.
yeah, yeah. The first month in there, I was living as a student. I was living in a student house. I just finished my degree and I stayed on in Preston, and I was paying out like 360 a month or something for house rent, and then I started doing PTs at this gym, and the gym rent was like 360 on top of my already 360. So I had what 720, so it was 720 quid before I put a bite of food in my mouth to come up with each month. And that's like I had to get like 4 clients in my first month just to cover the rent alone, not to mention all the other stuff. And I had like no savings whatsoever. So I'd come as a broke ass student who was living off bread and jam for like 3 weeks to this. It was funny. It was a good time. Yeah. It wasn't really a good
Looking
time.
back,
It wasn't a good time. But looking back, it's
a
funny
good
now.
story.
Yeah, it's a good story. Yeah, not a good time though. No, definitely not.
I remember being so broke, and then my car broke down in the car park, so I had to walk back into the gym. I said bye to everyone, and I'd say bye to them as they left, and then go up into the gym office and sleep in there.
Rough.
That was rough. Because the cleaner kept walking in and turning on the lights because they're on sensors, so I didn't get any sleep that night either.
Oh,
And I couldn't afford to get home from Preston. It's only like 20 quid, but I didn't have a penny to my name.
I didn't even know that one. Shit.
But you know, one of the ones that came out to push my car.
I possibly was, but I didn't catch on that he'd gone back and slept in the office. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, to come from where we were, I guess, to where we are now with assets in place, and yeah, sure enough, they're not massive yet, but we're getting there. Um, it's kind of funny, and we wanted to share all that, and then anyway, after we went our separate ways after lifestyle. I kind of went on, did my own thing. I PT'd out of a few other gyms, and then I decided to go back and do a master's in strength and conditioning. So I kept me in Preston for another while, uh, and then I just kind of switched from gym to gym, and then moved around a few different places. And then when Roy came back to train, he actually contacted me. He'd been working security, and we worked together for a good while. Got great results with Roy, and what I noticed is whenever we were talking, I had read a few mindset books and a few kind of self help books in the past. Not really connected with them. I thought that I had. I thought I'd understood the message, but I guess in hindsight I didn't. So I think that just chatting to Roy and chatting about building his mindset through the coaching, and not just him but everybody else as well, and I was really good at doing that, building this mindset, to achieve results in the gym, and look after your nutrition, etc. But when it come to outside the gym, I probably didn't just understand things. It's definitely business that I didn't understand things as well as I thought. So me and Roy kind of went through a journey together as well, and that we were both reading similar material at the time. So not only was he a client, but we were also coming and we were spending most of our sessions talking about the books that we were reading.
Yeah, it took us about 30 minutes to get through a warm up because we were just talking.
Yeah.
I think what we really clicked on was the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously we've both been through it, you were still doing it. And obviously I failed as a PT completely, no denying that. So after I left the industry, I started studying the industry, probably a bit late, but and then obviously I came back and started training with T, and we started discussing those sort of stuff, and that's what we really clicked on. And then it went from just training.
You pretty much said you pretty much came into me one day and he'd been studying so much business stuff. He was like, right, I really want to invest some money in something. I've got some money saved up. I need to invest money in something.
Yeah, I was looking at hair salons at the time, wasn't I?
Yeah, hair salons and tanning salons and shit like that.
Salons and just read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I'm like, right, I need to get a business. get some assets in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, hair salons. Look at the state. I mean,
Yeah.
don't know what I was thinking.
Sorry, it's not as bad. But Roy mentioned a good point there. That book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Honestly, guys, if you are listening to this podcast and he's kind of, you see you're interested in the same stuff, get that book, get into it, and really give it a read a few times over. Maybe some of the concepts in it seem simple at first, but it took like 4 years for them to really sink in with me and for me to fully grasp what it was the book was telling me. So it does take time to sink in. But
I don't know. I think it clicked with me straight away.
Yeah, you were a bright one. But yeah, so I, as I say, guys, it took me a long time to really kind of. I knew the rough concepts, but I didn't fully understand them. Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of teaches you about liabilities and assets and how most of the general public today is buying shitloads of liabilities that don't produce income. So how people are so broke isn't because we've not got enough money or enough wealth in the world, and there's not enough money going around. It's that people really manage their money really badly, especially in the Western world. We buy unnecessary shit, fucking Netflix, stuff. It's just you don't need any of it. People are buying the latest greatest cars. These things do not appreciate in value; they depreciate. So 2 years after buying the newest greatest car, it's not worth half of what you paid for it, and you've got to get rid of it, and then you've got to get the next one just to stay up with the Joneses, And this kind of mentality of keeping up with the Joneses and kind of luring yourself into thinking that you need these things for your lifestyle, I guess leads people to being broke, because once they've got so many expenses in the expenses column, it's really, really hard to balance that out. The only thing that balances that out then is whatever income they earn from a job. But if the only income they earn from that job, you basically, he says it really well, doesn't he? That guy, Robert, whatever his name is, Iwasaki. He basically says, unless you're making money when you're sleeping, you're not going to be financially free. You're not going to be able to kind of live the lifestyle. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Fucking hell. Everybody wants to be flying on private jets and driving the newest flashiest car and just having the money to do whatever it is they want to do. Even if it's not that stuff. Even if it's just like to take a holiday, fucking 3 times a year or whatever. People still want that. People still want that financial freedom, but the good thing about the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, is it teaches you how to be disciplined and how to actually go about achieving that. And that's what I took from it. Definitely, I think it teaches you the basic concepts of having assets versus liabilities and having your income separate from your assets, and understanding that in order to really be financially free, basically you're not financially free unless you can take a year off work. And that's kind of, if you could just walk away from your work for a year, yeah, you're financially free then. But if you're, if not, it's probably not the case. And what he done is he measured financial freedom in months, which I thought was a really cool idea to do. So basically, depending on how much savings you had, or however much money you had coming in, if you were to stop working, if something drastic happened, like I'm kind of still self-employed in a way. So if I was to injure myself now and I couldn't work in this gym, I couldn't coach people anymore, how much months would I be able to live off the money that I have? I can tell you now, it wouldn't be very long. I'd be fucked.
Especially about you.
So basically the idea was to get enough money banked so that you could almost like live the rest of your life, even if all shit broke loose, all hell broke loose. And some of these guys could. I mean, some of the, like the top, well, anybody that's got a couple of million could potentially use that money in a way in which they'd never have to work again. A lot of people don't. A lot of people win the lotto and end up broke again a year later, but some people really make the most of it. And in order to make the most of it, you either have to invest it or to run a business that runs itself, that's automatic. And that's kind of where his second book comes in, this cash flow quadrant. And I'm really, really enjoying that book. I'm reading it again here at the minute, and it's just so good because it kind of gets you to realize, it teaches you the skills that's involved in each section. So if you're employed or self-employed right now, the skills that you're using for those sections will not get you anywhere in the business or investor section. You need a different skill set. You need a different mindset. And the book is good at getting you into those mindsets and developing those skill sets. So definitely recommend those two books. That author is fantastic. But yeah, where were we anyway? Yeah, I totally went off on the research for that. I think we were talking about me and your story.
Journey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hair salons.
Hair salons. So Roy was looking to buy a hair salon, and I was like, well, I could probably use an investor. I'm thinking about opening my own place.
So I'll just interrupt you there. This is exactly how it works. I remember it like it was yesterday. You were talking to me. I was talking to you about hair salons, and you're like looking at me like, is that really what you want to do? I was like, well, no, not really. It's just a business. And you're like, what is it you want to do? I'm like, well, ideally, I'd like a gym, but not to work in it, for it to run itself, and I'd be the business side of things. And then you looked at me, you had this sort of that grin smirk on your face. You went, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because I'm thinking about opening a gym. And then that was March 2017. And
somebody's excited.
Yeah, that was March 2017. And well, fast forward just over a year.
And here we are, Titan. Yeah, and to be honest, it's not been even.
Sorry, funny story about the hair salon as well.
Yeah,
it's around the corner from my property.
Actually,
it's literally around the corner.
Yeah, so since then, Roy's not stopped with the gym. Roy's actually gone on and done. He's gone and opened his own property business. Well, you can tell me more about that. Not me saying anything.
Yeah, so obviously going back to Rich Dad Poor Dad and books that started it all, it's like you need multiple sources of income. So the gym is just one source of income. And if the gym failed, if it crumbled, then if that was my only source of income, once again, would be fucked. So it's about having multiple sources of income. So I set up a property business as well, which is one of the big topics in Rich Dad versus Poor Dad, and it's something I've always wanted to do anyway. So investing in some education. Once again, 12 months later, I acquired the first property. I don't own it. It's not quite cash flowing yet. That's another story in itself. The broke millionaire side of things. How things just never go to plan.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a property millionaire now, and we're still only 50% full, and we just had a TV stolen as well, which is which isn't great, but it's just part of the learning curve.
Well, I think that's why it's so important to do this podcast now, though. I mean, we could have waited another 3 years.
We could have waited till we're millionaires.
Yeah, we could have waited till we're millionaires to do this podcast, but then it's not organic then, and I guess people would be like, well, yeah, fucking, it's easy to say that in hindsight.
It's sorry for you to say, because you've got the money. And it's exactly. Like, well, actually, no, we don't have the money. Yeah. We're still going through the trials and tribulations, and just earlier this morning I tried to buy a milkshake and I didn't have enough. They've gone up by 10p. And I've only got £1.20 in my pocket.
Yeah. And I guess that's, it's been upfront and honest with it. I think a lot of people now that are like selling self-help, they kind of make it out like it's so fucking easy. And just we want to kind of be real and just say it's not easy at all. It's fucking terrifying.
But it's fun.
It's fun as well. Yeah, it's really fun. Way. Yeah, no, it is definitely. The challenges make it fun.
Yeah, I think it's learning totally different skills as well. Like working with you, it's totally different from the conversation we had in the gym, isn't it? It's like,
oh yeah,
there's
a difference between me being a coach and me being me.
Being a business partner is totally different.
Yeah, I'm probably bit more of a dick earner, really.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty
dick.
honest. Yeah.
To be fair, it was a bit of a dick when I was training with you.
That's probably that's
more reps. But now it's it's a fun learning curve though, and it's amazing how fast you can grow in such a small space of time. And all this really started from reading books.
It did pretty much, yeah. It all came off books, really. And I remember you bought me Money by Rob Moore.
Oh, it's Life Leverage.
Life Leverage. So Roy bought me this book by Rob Moore, another fantastic author. Highly recommend him. And I realized it kind of snapped me out of my bullshit as well. It kind of like made me realize what that I didn't. That kind of was the switch that kind of took me back to the Rich Dad Poor Dad thing that I'd read like 4 years previous. That was the switch that kind of ignited me again, because I realized that I didn't have to be. I wasn't the only one that could train people. So as a PT, you kind of let your ego take over and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm the fucking best coach about. I can do this shit." But really, that's not true. Let's be honest, guys. People. There's other PTs that could just achieve the exact same results you can, um, and probably there's loads of people even more qualified as well, and probably guys that could do it better, and maybe guys that aren't as much of a dick as me, and probably get on with people better as well. That's probably a factor. But yeah, so once I kind of got that, kind of snapped myself out of that and stopped thinking that it was only me could do it, and dropped my ego. That's when everything started to accelerate really towards doing what we're doing now. And I realized, fucking, I could actually, I could be sitting at home making money, and other people are still getting this fantastic service, and it's still about the ideals. Yeah. Um. So yeah, it's just still about the ideas that I wanted to share. As long as I got a good group of people around me and around the team, um, that we could achieve something great. And I didn't have to be always the one delivering it, because as one person, you can do what, at a push, you could do like 45, 50 hours a week, maybe. You could do more than that, but it's really hard to fit PT times around other people. If I want to work weekends, I could do that. I've got a daughter. I don't want to work weekends. I've got a family. I don't want to do that shit. So I still want to work. I still like talking to people. I still like coaching. I'm still in love with that as well. But I want to do it on my terms, and still be able to achieve the income that I want as well. And that's what it was all about, for me at first. But it's also about building. As I say, you can only impact 20 clients or something like that on your own. But you can impact thousands if you create a system, and a team that's really worthwhile, and you can impact thousands of people's lives. You can make a difference, across the nation, across the globe, whatever. People have done it, so why can't we? I guess
that's the last better as well. If you're trying to do it all on your own, you're
yeah,
going to burn out.
exactly.
They're not going to get the best service.
Not only that, but you're just not as good as you think you are. Like, as much as you think you're great, you as one person are never as good as a team of people. The skill set and the mentality and the approach and the personalities that are involved in a team of coaches versus one coach just doesn't compare. The team will always bring better results, I think, because you've got just more factors at play. You've got more strings to your bow. It just makes so much better sense, I guess, and that's why we went down this route. But I don't want to get too much into talking about the gym. It was more about kind of the laughs that we had along the way and the journey about it. And the tears, yeah. Yeah, as I was saying before, people want to sell you self-help like it's fucking something easy and it's something. Here's 10 simple steps to take back your life and all this bullshit. Yeah, it's not like that at all. There's going to be ups, downs, fucking lefts and rights. There's going to be days when you're feeling like, Jesus Christ, this is grinding as hell. Not going nowhere. We just opened in July, and August was our worst month. It was my worst month in like fucking 2 years. It was awful. And I thought, Christ, what is going to happen? I had all these expenses, all these debts and shit, and I'm building up, and I thought, my God, what is going to happen here?
But also, I've got that going on as well. Plus, a half-empty property with no with no TV, and things not going to plan. My car got written off a couple of months ago, so I'm having to catch a 5-hour round train just to get to Liverpool to do these viewings, and then people aren't showing up, and then it's just like, oh my God, and like this team is saying, things just build up on you, And you know, if this was me last year, I probably would have had a breakdown by now. But
Yeah.
talking about growth, you just grow so much, you learn how to deal with it, and it's just so much better than.
Yeah, I think like when you're able to cope with the stress of the position of earning that much money, then you earn that much money. If that makes sense. So if like you can't be a fucking CEO if you can't cope with the stress of being a CEO, put it like that. And before you get the money, you got to learn to deal with the stress. So once the stress comes,
And the stress, I think you've got to learn to deal with yourself.
yeah,
You know, just
that too.
like the way you vision things in your head isn't the reality, and it's never going to be like that. You know, like I said, I was supposed to be a property millionaire by now with 7 properties, but I couldn't get out of my way for the first half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to partner with someone, and if I didn't partner with someone, I wouldn't be in property right now. That's just me being honest.
But those partnerships, so that's
They
again
help you grow because you've
go
got someone else to bounce off.
exactly, and then you've got that life that the whole book, the book of Rob Moore's that life leverage book. That's kind of what it was teaching you, wasn't it? You know, you don't necessarily need to do all this stuff on your own. You can leverage other people's skill sets, other people's. You can even leverage their money. I'd say.
Yeah.
You know, you can leverage anything basically to you. It's not that you can't do it. It's that you haven't found a way to do it yet. So and that's what it's teaching you to find a way one way or another and get help. I think the first thing to do is just ask for help, especially even from a gym perspective. You know, people want help losing weight or want help getting stronger, whatever it is. You know, the first thing you got to do is ask for the help. You don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to invest in the gym if I didn't leverage my brother's money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it wasn't an ego trip. I didn't to ask my baby brother for some money.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is what it is. You know,
Yeah, but people that
he's
pride
earning
and shit.
10% interest on that, though, so you know he's got an asset now.
Exactly. The thing is that people are afraid to let their you know they let their pride get in the way of doing things. And I'm to be honest, I'm probably one of the most guilty of this because I fucking hate borrowing. But you know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, and that you've got to let your pride get it. You got to get out of your own way, like what I said earlier, and just do what's necessary. You do whatever it takes, and have that belief that it's going to work out. I think that's the hardest one too. Really, is getting that belief in place.
It's not getting it; it's keeping it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's
That's
easy
true.
to start something, but following through and stay committed when times get tough, that's when people stop. You know, the first sign of adversity, and that's it. They give up. Um, you know, how many people do you know who sleep in the car or sleep in the gym just to save petrol in order to buy food? Not
Yeah,
many, would
not
there?
many.
You know,
No.
they would go to the savings account and they'll take it out. They'll buy the food and they'll probably go buy an iPad as well to make them feel better.
Mm.
You know, it's getting out your own way, knowing what the bigger vision is,
Yeah,
and
got
then just
wasting money
following
on
through
stupid
with it.
shit.
You know,
Yeah, today's culture is so fucking convenience based. I guess machines have made it that way, and especially technology now. We've got everything at at our fingertips on these phones. But because of that, we just expect everything to be perfect. I mean, my great granny, she worked in a mill, and she used to walk like 6 miles a day to work, 6 miles back every fucking day. Every evening she'd be walking back, and she did that right up till she was like 78 or something like that. I mean, that's well past the working age nowadays. Yeah, she died at 85. I'm not saying that everybody should be doing that shit because that is stupid, but you know, but like to do that for a while, people would never dream of doing that nowadays. Nobody would
people
walk.
dream to go for a walk nowadays.
Yeah, people would never dream of walking 6 miles to work in a factory all day and then walking 6 miles back at night. They would never dream of that. They would just never take the job. But you know, I just think that because of the convenience thing, people are now becoming weaker and not having the mental fortitude to do whatever they need to do to get it in order to get the job done. And you know, if you have to do that for a couple of months, and so what? As long as you can see the bigger vision and the bigger picture, and you know you've got something to aim towards at the end of it. That's what matters, not the inconvenience of doing that. And in fact, if you use that time wisely, you could be listening to podcasts and books and learning the whole time. I mean, that's what I used to do. And it's definitely all those times on buses and walking around for me. I had a bit of a car trouble last Christmas. It was actually fucking nearly a year ago now, so I haven't had a car for near enough a year, and it's a ball ache. But the thing about it is, this has taught me a lot of things. It's taught me that you actually can get by with, without the conveniences, um, and also the amount of time that I've spent now listening to audiobooks and listening to podcasts. It's just phenomenal, the stuff that I've learned in the last year because of it. In fact, I would go as far to say is if I hadn't hit that massive crisis last Christmas, I probably wouldn't own a gym right now. Just I could probably say that. Yeah. So I guess that's what it is. I think you've just gotta kind of embrace the grind of the adversity before you get to where you want to go, and that's what the broke millionaires idea was about. We can't use the name, so
we're stuck in a dropping conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I still like that as a topic of conversation. Yeah. Anything else you want to roll on with that?
I think we've covered quite a lot, haven't we? Rambled quite a bit as well.
Yeah, we've done a lot of rambling. My bad. But this is kind of just what we're starting off this. We'll hopefully bring in guests to speak. We'll also be talking a lot more about our own individual struggles as well, but also bringing people in and hopefully getting some comments and stuff from other people outside to share their experiences. Hopefully create a community of people that support other entrepreneurs and create a system that that can help loads and loads of people. That's kind of where I am. Yeah, don't lose faith, guys. Over and out.